Tristan James. I work as an engineer and a music producer for an independent label called Proletariat Productions. Try to give opportunities to independent artists who mostly do kind of political, progressive or radical work with their music. Our first session was a metal band. We were trying to test, we wanted to test the soundproofing and all of that stuff because we went through some pretty heavy labor to soundproof the place and build angled walls in and all of that stuff. So, but yeah, we wanted to kind of really test our capabilities in here, and so this band had a large drum set, tons of guitar amps, lots of vocal effects and stuff like that, and we said, okay, let's dive in and see how our setup is and how it's working. I think it went well. It was challenging because we were trying to figure out things like, okay, how do we set up the click? How do we, it's like just basic things you do when you're not used to a software. Like with Pro Tools, I go to sleep thinking about Pro Tools because I used it so much. It's like colored lines running across. But using Nuendo definitely had a curve, trying to figure out how to punch in and out and do everything. You had to basically relearn it, even though the concept's the same. You just have to find where everything is that you need. I can play a little bit if you want. I believe this song's called "The Way," and you'll hear a lot of guitars and drums. Some things that wouldn't actually even be possible are things like the distortion on the voice. You would have had to pay for an additional plugin for that distortion. Nuendo comes right out of the box with amp modelers, tube preamp modelers, and all sorts of effects like that, and they sound pretty decent. Not to totally just endorse something like that, but it's I gotta say it's easier. It's easier to use. The automation I found was very easy to use. You can see here there's actually something that I like a lot is the ability to pull down. You can add sections to each track. So say I wanted to automate mutes and be able to see the mutes, the volume automation, you can just keep adding stuff. Effects bypasses and effects controls, all that stuff is automatable, same way as in Pro Tools, except for in Nuendo I can see all the automation at one time and automate and be able to work with all of them simultaneously. Which is much easier for me. Another thing that's a huge time saver when I'm trying to build effects loop, the reverb for example, I set up an effects channel, which is sort of like a group channel. It sets up the effect, and I same as in Pro Tools, I insert an effect. So there's a RoomWorks SE, which is like a light version of their reverb, and then what do I get in the channels? In my send section, I have a pull down menu and it says reverb right there, the reverb that I use, and it routes it straight to it. Whereas in Pro Tools you have to you would just have to rename everything. Okay, this is bus 1. Here I go. I'm going to send it through bus 1 to input bus 1 on the effects channel and stuff. It takes twice as long, literally. And these are just little minuscule things, but together they all add up. That's huge for us because we literally want this place going 24/7, and the more we can get done efficiently it's so important to us.